All roads lead to Rome. That's where I want to uncover how the Christian idea of the end of days began. Its most famous book of prophecy, Revelation, written around 100 AD, foretells an impending battle with the Antichrist. Let anyone with understanding calculate the number of the beast, for it is the number of a person. Its number is 666.
Hello and welcome to this video on Biblical Numerics and Bible Prophecy. In this video I'll be discussing the number of the beast. I will be using a short clip from the National Geographic series The Story of God with Morgan Freeman, where Morgan Freeman supposedly decodes the number of the beast. As far as I know, this is the most watched video about the number of the beast on YouTube that isn't about a song written by a heavy metal band named Iron Maiden.
I want to know if I can calculate the number of the beast. I've come to the Biblioteca Castelnatense near the Vatican to meet an expert in early Christianity, Kim Haynes-Eitzen. She tells me she has compelling evidence that reveals the identity of the beast. Good morning. So, what exactly do we have here?
Well, I've been looking at some fragments of the book of Revelation.
The book of Revelation.
That's right.
The book of the end of days.
The end of days, the apocalypse. It's a prophetic book. It's got loads of symbolism, but it's also very much a political book and making a political claim about the cause of evil.
The cause of evil.
Or who's responsible for evil.
So tell me about this coding, because as I understand it, the Antichrist was given a code, so they would never call his name. They would just say it by code.
Well, there has been a lot of debate about what this number, in particular 666, who it refers to. There has also been a strong argument made for 666 referring to Nero.
Nero was emperor of Rome from 54 to 68 AD, around the time when the first Christians began to arrive in Rome. So, how do you make 666 translate to Nero?
When you apply numerical values to the name Kaiser Neron and you add up those numbers, you come to 666.
In ancient Greek and Hebrew, every letter had a corresponding number. If you add up the letters of the name for Emperor Nero, written in Hebrew, Kaiser Neron, the total comes to 666. But Nero is just one of many names that can add up to 666.
Now, the problem with Nero being the Antichrist is that the book of Revelation was most likely written during the reign of the Emperor Domitian, around 95 AD. Nero died in 68 AD. But Nero, like Domitian, was a Caesar, a ruler of the Roman Empire. And the Bible tells us there are many antichrists, and the Caesars, in my opinion, qualify. Now, if we use a simple ordinal English cipher as shown here, the word Caesar has a value of 47. The significance of this number will become more apparent as we progress through this video.
Kim believes a later copy of the book of Revelation, found in an archaeological dig in Egypt, confirms the beast is Nero.
One of the interesting things about these fragments is that we've got two different numbers.
What are those letters?
A Chi is a 600, Xi 60, Sigma a 6, 666. This one over here we have a Chi Iota Sigma 616 with a line over the top.
Why is it different?
You might think that this number destroys the possibility that it could be Nero,
Yes.
What's striking about this is that it may help to confirm the identity of Nero, because this would be the number that we would get if we spelled Nero according to the Latin spelling, Nero Kaiser.
Okay.
Without the N, the letter N represented 50, the number 50. So 666 minus 50, 616. So we've just
we just
gone.
subtract, and we're going to come up with 616, and we have the same guy.
That's right.
I'm so clever.
Here is Revelation 13:18 as found in the Greek Textus Receptus. Now I want to point out that the number 666 is a multiple of the number 74. It is 74 times 9. That'll be important. But I want you to notice if we apply a simple ordinal cipher to the Greek alphabet where alpha equals 1 and omega equals 26, you'll see that the three letters translated as 666 yield the value of 45. Revelation 13:18 says, "Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666. So we are told it is the number of a man. Let's go to the first mention of man in the Bible is in Genesis 1:26. And the word man there in the Hebrew is Adam, and the numerical value for it using Hebrew Standard Gematria is the number 45. Perhaps the beast or the Antichrist will be connected with this number. Now in the English King James Bible, God speaks exactly 47 words when he makes man in his own image. Now in the Hebrew, the phrase made man has a value of 470 using the Hebrew Standard. And if we use the simple ordinal, it has a value of 74. That happens to be the ordinal value of the name Jesus in the English. And look at the phrase perfect man has a value of 470. Psalms 37:37 tells us to mark the perfect man and behold the upright, for the end of that man is peace. To me, that is talking about Jesus Christ. But the main point I want to make here is the 47 or 74 pattern found in the original Hebrew in Genesis 1:26. Now if we look at Revelation 13:18 again, notice that in the English the word beast has a value of 47. So here let's put this all together. Number of a man, in the Hebrew, man equals 45, and in the English, beast equals 47. So we see this 45-47 pattern. Now I'm not mentioning any names, but if I were to, I'd probably lose subscribers. But understand that the way that we attain these numbers is very basic, very simple, even fundamental, I would say. Now before we move on, I want to point out that the phrase "and his number is 666" in the Greek has a value of 2,368, which is 74 times 32. And that happens to be the value of the phrase Jesus Christ in the Greek as shown here in Matthew 1:1. Now if we examine the Greek text further, look at the first three words. Here is wisdom in the Greek has a value of 1,598. That is 34 times 47. The numbers 34 and 47 are interesting because they are the numerical value of the name Noe using the ordinal cipher. And if we reverse that cipher, where we make A equal 26 and Z equal 1, Noe equals 47. And the reverse standard of Noe is 470. Now remember the phrase perfect man using the standard had a value of 470. And here the reverse of Noe is 470, and the Bible tells us that Noah was a just man and perfect in his generations. But I bring up Noah for a reason. Look at Luke 17, pick it up in verse 26. And as it was in the days of Noe, so shall it be also in the days of the Son of Man. They did eat, they drank, they married wives, they were given in marriage, until the day that Noe entered into the ark, and the flood came and destroyed them all. Likewise also it was in the days of Lot. They did eat, they drank, they bought, they sold, they planted, they builded. But the same day that Lot went out of Sodom, it rained fire and brimstone from heaven and destroyed them all. Now in the Old Testament, the word flood or floods occurs in 47 verses. And the word Sodom occurs in exactly 47 verses of the King James Bible. Now, combine that with the fact that the flood of Noah began on the 47th day of the 600th year of Noah's life. The second month, the 17th day. 30 plus 17 is 47. I believe the number 47 will play a significant role in these end times, just as it did in the times of Noah. Now, we saw in the Greek the first three words had a value of 1,598, which is 47 times 34. But the rest of it, let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for the number of a man, and his number 603 score and 6, has a value of 12,643 in the Greek. That is 47 times 229. So we see this continuing 47 pattern in the original Greek text. And the name Noe is an anagram for the word one. So we see here 1 has a value of 47 in the reverse, just like Noe. Let's go to Genesis 11, the story of the Tower of Babel. It begins, and the whole earth was of one language and of one speech. Now the phrase, and the whole earth was, has a value of 1776 using the standard English cipher. And if we make a cipher using the primes, it is interesting that that same phrase has a value of 666. Now, I know it seems a stretch to make a cipher out of the prime numbers, but I've made some recent discoveries that lead me to believe that this is justified, and I'm going to show you another 666 pattern using the primes at the end of this video. Let's examine the Great Seal of the United States as found on the US $1 bill. Notice on the reverse side of the Great Seal on the right, you have the Roman numerals at the base of the pyramid. 1776, the year of the Declaration of Independence, where the colonies rebelled against the King of England, right? The number 13, the number of rebellion, and we see that in the eagle. We have the 13 stars, the 13 stripes, the 13 arrows, the olive branch with the 13 leaves, 13 olives, 13 levels on the pyramid. And in what chapter do we learn about the beast, the Antichrist, in the book of Revelation? It is Revelation 13. Yeah, so maybe the beast is connected with the number 13. But look at the number 1776. It is a multiple of 74. It is 74 times 24. Or you can look at it as being a multiple of 148. I'll point out the significance of this number shortly. So we already saw that the phrase, here's wisdom, is a multiple of 47 using Greek isopsephy. And the rest of the verse, let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for the number of a man, his number 603 scored and 6, is also a multiple of 47 using Greek isopsephy. Therefore it follows that the entire verse is a multiple of 47. Revelation 13:18 in the Greek has a numerical value of 14,241, and that is 47 times 303. So there is a clear 47 pattern in the original Greek text, as we have it in the Textus Receptus. Now, in the English, using the ordinal, the word time has a value of 47. The time is at hand. Time to warn your family and your friends, your church. There is a great deception coming. I believe God's going to send out a strong delusion that people should believe a lie. I believe a dangerous form of Christian nationalism is going to take over in the United States. Unfortunately, this movement will support the Antichrist. I believe we are seeing the great falling away. But moving on, let's examine one of the great types of the Antichrist in the Old Testament, King Nebuchadnezzar. Daniel 4, verse 1, Nebuchadnezzar, the king, unto all people, nations, and languages that dwell in all the earth, peace be multiplied unto you. It is interesting that this is written in the first person by Nebuchadnezzar himself. And the name Nebuchadnezzar has a value of 148, which is 74 times 2. The phrase the king has a value of 74. Now, like I said, 74 times 9 is 666. So if we make a cipher based off the number 9, I call it the 9 times cipher, the phrase the king has a value of 666. And the word king occurs 2,256 times in the King James Bible, which is 47 times 48. Now skip down to verse 16. Let his heart be changed from man's, and let a beast's heart be given unto him, and let 7 times pass over him. Now the word man's has a value of 47, like the word beast. All forms of the word beast, that is beast, beasts possessive, and beast plural, occurs a total of 337 times in the King James Bible, and that is a star number. It's the 8th star number. Now the ordinal value of the word be is interesting. It has an ordinal value of 7. Notice 7 times pass over him. And the reverse value of be is 47. So now I'm going to put forth the argument that the number 337 is composed of three smaller numbers. So we already have the number 47. That's one of the numbers. Let's go to Genesis 1:24. And God said, "Let the earth bring forth the living creature after his kind, cattle and creeping thing, and beast of the earth after his kind, and it was so." Notice the phrase beast of the earth has a value of 153. Now the phrase beast of the earth is substituted with the phrase beast of the field in Genesis 2, and we find that here in Genesis 3 verse 1. Now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field which the Lord God had made, and he said unto the woman, Yea, hath God said, Ye shall not eat of every tree of the garden? Now, beast of the field has a value of 137, and when we add that to the aforementioned 153 and 47, we get the number 337. Again, the eighth star number. And look at that phrase, not eat, occurs exactly 47 times in the King James Bible. And the phrase eat of has a value of 47. That phrase occurs in Genesis 2:17. Notice the commandment of God concerning the tree of knowledge of good and evil occurs in Genesis 2:16, which is the 47th verse of the Bible. Or I should say the commandment concerning eating begins in Genesis 2:16, the 47th verse of the Bible, and extends into Genesis 2:17, where we learn of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. So this number 337 is significant in my opinion. And if we look at this 7 times that pass over Nebuchadnezzar when he's made into a beast, or the heart of a beast is given to him, we see a time. Time has a value of 47, and 7 times 47 is 329. And when we add that to 337, we get the number 666. Let's skip down to verse 33. The same hour was the thing fulfilled upon Nebuchadnezzar, and he was driven from men, and did eat grass as oxen, and his body was wet with the dew of heaven, till his hairs were grown like eagle's feathers, and his nails like birds' claws. It is interesting, he's likened to an eagle, but I already mentioned Nebuchadnezzar has a value of 148 using the English ordinal, but when we use the standard on the word eagles, it also has a value of 148. Again, 1776 is a multiple of 148, and the Great Seal of the United States has that eagle on it, and we just see this eagle showing up in this story of Nebuchadnezzar given a beast's heart. These are all clues for us, in my opinion, and I believe the Antichrist will be connected with the number 148. Let's go down to verse 37, the last verse. Nebuchadnezzar has had his mind come back to him. It reads, Now I, Nebuchadnezzar, praise and extol and honor the King of heaven, all whose works are truth, and his ways judgment, and those that walk in pride he is able to abase. Now let's look at Daniel 7:4. The first was like a lion, and had eagle's wings. I beheld till the wings thereof were plucked, and it was lifted up from the earth, and made stand upon the feet as a man, and a man's heart was given to it. Notice earlier, a beast's heart was given to Nebuchadnezzar. Now we have a man's heart being given to the beast, and man's equals 47, like the word beast. And notice we're in Daniel 7:4, so we're seeing this 7-4-4-7 pattern. Notice the lion. Now go to Revelation 4:7. And the first beast was like a lion, and the second beast like a calf, and the third beast had a face as a man, and the fourth beast was like a flying eagle. Notice both beasts have the lion in common. And think about this 4-7-7-4 pattern. When we look at the birth of the United States, the birthday, July 4th, 7-4, or 4th of July, 4-7. So the Declaration of Independence mimics this 4-7-7-4 pattern. And on any non-leap year, that's the 185th day of the year, 37 times 5, 185. Another clue to identify the Antichrist, in my opinion. But that phrase, first beast, only occurs one other place in the Bible, and that is in Revelation 13:12, referring to the beast that rose up out of the sea that had the mouth of a lion. Now the mystery of the beast is given in Revelation 17. Look at verse 9. And here is the mind which hath wisdom. The 7 heads are 7 mountains on which the woman sitteth. Now the phrase, the 7, occurs exactly 47 times in the New Testament of the King James Bible. Verse 10. And there are 7 kings. 5 are fallen, and 1 is, and the other is not yet come. And when he cometh, he must continue a short space. Now the king that is accepted in general as being Rome, headed by Caesar. And we saw that Caesar has a value of 47, as does the reverse of the word 1. So we're going to give Caesar a value of 47, one of the heads. And the word kings occurs exactly 329 times in the King James Bible, 47 times 7. Verse 11, and the beast that was and is not, even he is the 8th, and is of the 7, and goeth into perdition. So again, 337 is the 8th star number. All forms of the word beast occurs 337 times in the King James Bible, and when we add that to 329, we get 666, thus confirming our earlier result. Last verse, 1 Kings 10, verse 14. Now the weight of gold that came to Solomon in 1 year was 666 talents of gold. So using that cipher based off the primes, the phrase, now the weight of gold equals 666. And that word weight occurs in exactly 47 verses of the Old Testament. The phrase of gold occurs 153 times in 147 verses. Gold in ancient times symbolized a deity, gods, the sun, and there are 47 degrees in the path of the sun. In other words, there's 47 degrees between the tropics of Capricorn and Cancer. So this number 47 is a very important number. It is in the creation, and it is encoded in the King James Bible from cover to cover. Well, that's all I have for now. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, consider hitting the like button and subscribing to my channel. God bless, and bye for now.